guys, today we're talking about the best selling cards under $5 or less of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Penny Stock Market Watch. I'm not going to talk until I see something new. Is this new? I think we've seen this before. This is the Light and Dark card. Yeah, it's interesting. It's about that time again of the format. There's new TG stuff. I think I remember seeing that. What does their Link Monster do? This is spicy. How old is this card? I've never even seen this card in my entire life. I guess I don't really play TG ever. I play TG Hyper Librarian. There's some videos from 2020. This is DPYG. Yeah, this is 2018. So it probably came out in 2019. I'd assume. This card's history. I hopefully there's someone in the comments that's like it came out in 2019 or 2018 or something to that effect. But it requires 2 effect monsters, including at least 1 TG monster. So if there's another link, which I'd assume there's not, but if there's another link monster, then it will be great for it, because you could use a Link 2 monster to climb up into this. But anyway, if this card's Link Summon, you can special summon 3 TG monsters, hand, deck, and grave, in defense position. 2 zones these cards point to, but you can't special summon except for TG monsters for the rest of this turn. Your opponent cannot target TG synchro monsters with card effects. That is actually a fantastic effect. The only one that's tricky is the only spot to summon from that's tricky is hand. You're doing your full combo, you get to this card, and you'll obviously have one in grave. You should have one still left in deck, and then all you need is the last one that's from hand. That's actually really good. This is a really solid card. I just think it's probably hard to make. Not a lot of Link 3 monsters, or any monsters. Like Apollosa does, Yugioh does, but they're obviously Link 4s, but they have all of the bottom arrows filled out, which means that regardless of what extra monster zone it goes into, extra deck monster zone it goes into, it will have 2 spots open. I will say I don't really know how good TG is going to be. It's support that I haven't really looked at, but TG is definitely something. I mean, I guess I could have said the same thing about Super Heavy Samurai, but TG is definitely an archetype that has just like always been bad, no matter what. Super Heavy Samurai did get its day to shine in the sun, but it's not really that good anymore. I mean, I guess it just got rid of like 1 card, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes with TG. Trident Launcher. I wonder. I mean, these cards are still really cheap. Oh no, they're not. They're market prices, but these cards have shot up because of the announcement of it. I wouldn't buy TG stuff right now. I think like worst case scenario is like the TG stuff is really, really good. It's the best deck at the format, and you want to play it. So just wait a little bit, because if you look at a deck like Kashtira, for example, or like Sprite, right, or even what just came out, Vanquish Soul, right? Vanquish Soul is a relatively newer deck that's cheaper than it was when it first came out, right? So just, I mean, obviously it's more expensive, but just wait for the new stuff to come out, wait for these to calm down. The hype train is here. The hype train is real. If you already have your copies of TG Trident Launcher, cool. But I would sell any extra or surplus that I'd have. Now it's time, because I don't see it getting any higher. I understand that the deck could come out and be really, really good, but I don't see it moving. I think this is new too. I think Solemn Judgment is new too. A lot of copies of Solemn Judgment on the market. The cheapest one available is probably that Maids of Memories one. The Common from Lost Sanctuary is actually more expensive That's kind of crazy. I mean, Lost Sanctuary is older than the TG archetype. I think so. Don't quote me on that. But I think when we look at the Maze of Memories edition, the super rare edition, it's gonna move up. It's definitely gonna move up. That's probably why it hit. It's where it's at right now, because it took a bit of a nosedive here, all the way down to 250, which is probably about its low. And this is probably a $3 card. So this is probably the best time to get this card if you can get into multiples, because honestly, I mean, like, if you just get the top 3, you're basically spending $3 anyway. Like, $3 on the dot, you might as well go get like the Maximum Gold version, Secret Slayers version, right? Like an older version that probably just has more potential to be bought out. Whereas the Maze of Memory, like, there's an ultra rare here. It looks really cool. So if you're going to spend $3 on Solemn Judgment, you probably do another one, but it's very interesting that all copies of Solemn Judgment are $3, around $3 or more. This card, I believe, was limited for a while. It was banned for even longer because it can always be used. And I think that because of the speed of the game where it's at now, this card is perfect. It's one of the very few cards I can think of, maybe Elemental Hero Stratos, that when it first came out was so good that it was bannable. And as Power Creep went along, this card became more easy to be able to be played, but isn't broken. Like, I look at a card like Harpy's Feather Duster, which is super old. That's not a good example because that card is just broken. Like, that card, like, you set 4 and pass, you have an Ash in your hand, your opponent activates Harpies, and you just kind of lose if you don't have the Solemn Judgment, right? But then when we look at like Gen X Ally Birdman, which just came off the ban list, that card's been power crept out of existence. There are very few cards in this game's history that, especially that are as old as Solemn Judgment, that were broken when they first came out. The game moved past, and these cards were too good for that, or these cards were just way too good for the formats, and then eventually Power Creep found its way to catch up to Solemn Judgment. And it's just so interesting because Strike, Warning, Scolding have all come out since Judgment. I don't know if they plan on making another Solemn card. They might. But I think the reason why I should have just counted it when I was on this page, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 19 copies of Solemn Judgment, and you can't get a single one of them for $2, is because this is a really, really, really good card. Since this card came to 3, since this card came to 1, this card is just like in my decks. Like, I just find a way to make it, and it's a really good side deck card, even if you don't like it in the main deck, if you know you're going first. Solemn Judgment's a fantastic card. But I don't think we've seen it, and I think the reason why we haven't seen this card is, I think, because like the best trap deck is Labyrinth, right? And I believe, I'm not sure 100%. Yeah, because like Labyrinth is normal traps, right? And then like Trap Tricks is trap holes, right? Ultrageist is gonna, I think it's getting its new support soon. I'm not sure. I don't remember when that support's coming out. It could already be out. I don't know. I've seen it on EDO Pro. That's as far as I've gotten. That's really becoming more of a combo deck, not really running Judgment. So like the decks that would run Judgment, like the trap heavy decks, aren't running Judgment. Usually the decks that are running Judgment are like the decks, like I said, that are trying to play around a Harpies, or really like not Harpies, but really just board breaking cards. Like Solemn Judgment is one of the very few cards that just says no to Dark Ruler no more. And you build this Kashtira board of Arise Heart, I guess Shangri-La, Fenrir, maybe a trap card and a Judgment, and your opponent activates Book of Eclipse, you're like Solemn Judgment, right? So that's really, really good. And that's probably why this card's sneaking its way in. Some of these cards we've obviously seen before, so we'll go to page 2. Like I said, we're just at that part of the format where things are getting a little more stale. The last market watch I did, I focus heavily on product, and so the main reason for that is just to spice it up, just to make some things up. Because we've seen the Monstrous Revenge Dark Hole, we've seen the Nessie. I don't think we've seen Gozen Match though, and Gozen Match is interesting. We can kind of actually take another deep dive into Gozen Match because Gozen Match doesn't have nearly as many copies, but it's obviously cheaper. The thing with Gozen Match, Rivalry of the Warlords, there can only be one. Even summon limit to an extent. Like these floodgates, skill drain, right? Even falls under that category. Macrocosmos, like it's dependent upon how good the format is. Because you got to remember, all those cards I just said are continuous trap cards, which means that you have to set it and wait for an entire turn to play this card, right? So because of that delay, this card is only going to be good if the format allows it to be good. And Vanquish Soul, Kashtira, kind of Sprite, because Sprite is just played with so many different things. That might be it, because I think Labyrinth doesn't have this issue where this card just hard kills it, right? Mathmech kind of too, because Mathmech kind of runs just like a bunch of different attributes. It depends on what kind. Like Marinus doesn't usually have that problem. Marinus can probably run this card, right? I think there was a hero list I saw from a couple of weeks ago that got a top 32 at the North American Remote WCQ. That was main decking Gozen Match, which is kind of wild because heroes don't really play super well into Gozen Match either. But they usually like to lean more towards dark. But like if you have a Dark Law up, you can't summon Stratos. But that's how powerful Gozen Match is, right? Now when I look, I don't really recall the order. Like I know it's like common, rare, like I think Starfoil, gold, right? I know Secret is obviously higher than Ultra and Super, but Ultra and Super are usually regarded as like equal, as far as like which rarity is better, because the other three aren't really great rarities. Like this is obviously the rare rarity. This is from a structure deck. Trying to think, is this what I think this is? This is this structure deck. I don't know if you were just like a genius when this came out and just bought like 70 of these for $700. Like lunch is on you, because there's not really like a lot in here. Because the structure deck was kind of old now at this point, but that card in and of itself being in that specific structure deck is why that card is maintaining its value as a common, right? Whereas the Hidden Summoner Super Rare has the second lowest listings, and it is I think it's the highest because its market price is lower. Damage. Near mints are 270. Near mints are 230. So that if we can go back to where we were just at, there it is. The Hidden Summoners version is a little bit more expensive, but then you have to sit back and ask yourself, okay, why is it the third best selling if it's just barely more? Like, why wouldn't we just go get this? I think people like this rarity the best. And because like some cards don't make great secret rares, some cards make fantastic secret rares, right? Some cards make great ultra rares, some cards make great super rares. I think Gozen Match is one of those cards that make great super rares, and it just came out, right? It has the most listings available, and it's the second most expensive version of Gozen Match, and by like, pennies on the dollar type thing. So this is probably the version to get. This is probably the version to buy. Could I see this card going up in value? I mean, it is right now at this time. 192, 190. Could I see this going to like $3? That's the hero deck I was talking about. Could I see it going to like $3, $4? I don't know, because Gozen Match is just, it's not a necessary card. Like, it's great in some game states, and it's terrible in other game states. I guess this was the wrong card to look at. So I think we look at like Hidden Summoners. So it was $8 a year ago. That's kind of crazy. Were all of those like that? I bet the turbo pack was for sure. That's how turbo packs are. It's about like $6 or $7. So the question is, like, could these versions of Goes and Match ever get back to here? Maybe, maybe not. But I definitely think that this Magnificent Mavens version has a lot of potential. And when we look at how many listings are available, and this is why too, it's very important to like check these type of things. If not like through like a video or through a website, just like through Twitter, Reddit, however you can. If you're trying to deal with the market, just because this card randomly shows up, at the North American WCQ 6 days ago, and all of a sudden this ultra rare version is flying off the shelves. Now, solo Yugioh, I don't know how this is working. I don't know what is this, like an experiment? I don't know what's going on. I don't know how you have 50 damaged versions. I think it's a science experiment. I'm not sure what's going on with that. But if we look at just a $3 version, and it takes a while to get to that spot. So it might take a while for this card to start to go up in value. But if we look at, because we're still at $3 on page 5. All right, so we finally got to $3. You can just go here too, I guess. Actually, it's a euro. How was euro? It's not. That's not a thing. Oh, okay. What does euro mean? Like European, but like not like German, French, Ukrainian. It's just Europe. So you could, though, in theory, buy 8 copies of this card. That's actually not that hard of math to do, because that's $24. Wait for it to get to 5. That's $40. It's a $16 profit, which isn't the best, but it's pretty solid. And that's just if it gets to 5, right? You could even wait for 6 of them. You could sell like 6 of them to get to 30, make your money back, make more than your money back, and then kind of wait to see where the other 2 are going to go. So it's just different little things like that when it comes to the penny stock, just making money over the long haul. So next we have Junk Speeder, which should be fairly obvious because of what this card does. I didn't realize I only thought there was one version of this card. The OTS Supers are selling for... is this a bug? You can get the OTS Supers. You can get a playset unlims for $1.70, which isn't bad at all. If we go to not near min is what I wanted to click on. Are there no unlimited? Are there no first eds? I guess there's no first. I guess, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. I guess you could just get like one for $1 too. The OTS pack versions are usually more expensive than any other kind, but it is the Megaton Secret Rare. Believe that came out first. And the Secret Rare, this is another one of those cards. Like, yes, this is an OTS, but it's a super rare. It's like this card looks really good as a super rare, right? For those who don't know what this does, because it's kind of old, if this card is synchro summon, you can special summon as many synchron tuners as possible with different levels from your deck in defense position. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except synchro the turn you activate this effect. When an attack is declared involving this card that was synchro summoned this turn and another monster, you can make this card's attack become double, so 3,600. But it's really that first effect, right? Because even with that restriction, it's really not that bad, like, as possible. Especially with, like, when this card came out, it was Mastery Rule 4. So you still had to do, like, Link Monster, Extra Deck Monster Zone, and it had to do that. So it was actually not as good as it is now, where you can make this card with so many different combinations. Actually, I'm not even going to list one. Like, there's so many different ways you can make this card. You could unexpected die for Elemental Hero Sparkman and then normal summon Jet Synchron. Right? Like, I don't know why those two are in the deck together, but let's just say, Warrior Synchro, and send it off, summon this card down. When this card resolves, because obviously it's a big Imperm, Veiler, Ash target, but when this card can resolve, it's insanity. Like, it is absolutely insane what you're capable of with what you can do with this card because of what's available for Synchrons, right? So even though this card's value went up because people are wondering, could Synchron, which has a lot of support, Synchron, if you're unaware, because Synchron was used by Yusei, right? So that means that it's like Dark Magician, Utopia's Exo Weapon, Performa Pals. It's not like Dark Magician, but Heroes. Like, it's not like Heroes or Dark Magician, but really more like Zaxel Weapon, Utopia, Performa Pal, Performages, Cybers, right? Where there's just oodles and oodles of support in like years and years and years and years and years of support. I mean, we're talking like 7 pages worth of support for different ways of Synchron monsters, and that's not including like randomly good like cards that like Doppel Warrior or something like that. I don't even know if Doppel Warrior is good. It's been a long time since I've messed around with Synchrons, and I might mess around with them again just because they are supposed to. There's another vintage archetype that's getting more support, so I really think this is a good buy. But like I always say, spend your money how you feel. And don't let some random stranger on the internet, even though I feel like we really do have a deep connection, don't let me control how you spend your money. And that was weird. I don't know why I said that. But let me know what you guys think in those comments down below. What are the best selling cards under $5 or less that you are interested in? Let me know in those comments down there. Make sure you guys click that like button, show support for the channel, subscribe for more content. But most importantly of all, have a good day.